In today's world, everybody's marketing. I think if you're trying to do life-changing dentistry, you almost have to now. We're starting to build that brand a little bit more. And then, yeah, that's 100% due to the marketing. And just, again, going back to like MDA being willing to go back and change things and improve things and update things. If I was to start a practice all over at any point in my career, the very first thing I would do is go to a company like MDA and start that from day one.
So I always, see, like when I'm talking to folks, I try to impress upon them that you've had lots of marketing experience, but the idea of switching to a new company or getting involved in marketing, it's a really long-term commitment. It's not like,
Yeah.
it's been 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, like things should be really different. It's like, well, maybe. But then MJ, and I remember you talked about this, you've had some not so much long wins, but long-term wins, but short wins, like immediately implant campaign, and you got a bunch of big cases out of that. So how do you do you look at that as like part of the long-term one? Or those are just like one-offs that this kind of popped up with those things? Like how do you look at those like really fast, like wins on big cases, in your case, big cases?
I think everything you do with any marketing company is you're playing the long game, and you're like making incremental improvements and adding more testimonials and all these things and gathering more data as you do ads and stuff. Um, when we started doing like a different approach for the marketing or for the implants, um, you know, I think there are some things that you can change that maybe do make a big difference all at once, but maybe like start to level out over time. So, uh, I think switching to a survey campaign style that we did, I think it allowed us to like screen more people. And then as we put money into that, so we had more people to screen, and that's kind of where we started to gather more these kind of bigger cases. I don't think there's anything in marketing that's like the golden ticket, like you said. I mean, I think a lot of people want that, but that's not the case. But the way that we had set up our practice, it was really about like how can we increase our leads, which they were able to do, and then come up with a better, more hands-off screening system so that we had more qualified leads that we were actually talking to.
Before I met NDA or started working with them, that I felt like it was normal. That to me it was normal that when you go to a marketing company, like they're the experts, this is how they do it, and it's going to work for you, David. So not got stuck in a box, but I was in a box. And not necessarily saw that as a bad box. It's just like, it was their box. And that one was different than the company I used before. It's the things they did. There wasn't a lot of tailoring it to me or that kind of stuff. And then MDA's approach to me was very different, once they talked to me about it, it was like, oh, like that makes a lot of sense. Like, you're going to tailor it to me. And then once you tailor it to me, can we change it? Can it be dynamic? Can we, change stuff and try stuff and do stuff?
Yeah.
As the business changes, or are we just going to try it, just to see, get more traction in different directions? So you've been at MBA a while. Would you say that you've tried a bunch of stuff with them, experiment with different things, and by doing that, you found some things work better than others, and you enjoy that process? Or would you rather yeah. Okay. So just talking a little bit about that approach.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this is like where MDA's strength is, and why
Yeah.
I have really enjoyed working with them more than other marketing companies I have in the past, is because they're so willing to try new techniques, new ideas, new, just it could be a new kind of campaign. It could be different wording in a campaign. Other companies that I've worked with were just very like, here's what we do for our other clients, and this is what we're going to do for you. So it's just very like no customization into it. I mean, I am very hands-on in the marketing, so I'm always looking at things and try, and I bring them ideas all the time. Like, hey, can we try this? What about this? I always get their feedback. I've read something about this. Like, can we try it? So, and they're always just like, yeah, let us do some research. We'll put together a plan and we'll figure it out together. So I mean, that's been the biggest thing for me at the MBA, is like, it's not tell the marketing company, hey, this is what I want, and then like never talk to them again. Like, and I think that's what a lot of people I talk to, their frustration with marketing, that's what their expectations are. But it's definitely a team approach. Like, they're just another part of your team, and you have to treat them just like any other team member. So a lot of back and forth. you're going to get as much out of it as you put into it with any marketing. But NDA is very receptive of that kind of relationship. Whereas I don't know if other marketing companies really want that. Honestly, I think they'd rather just take your money and you just
Yeah,
forget about
cool.
it.
Cool. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. Leave a voicemail.
Yeah, exactly.
When you so you've tried different things, you said like you're really active with that, approaching them. What's been your experience about their being accountable to your requests? Like it sounds like they've been like they're open minded to it and they get back to you. But that was my experience. But that's just my experience. Like, what's your experience been?
Yeah. I mean, I really can't think of one thing that they told me like, absolutely, we're not going to do that or we can't do that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, everything they've been very receptive of. And, some of the stuff that we've tried that I have brought to their attention, some of it has worked out, some of it hasn't worked out. So,
Yeah.
but they're always willing to try. And, they're very good about like saying, hey, like sometimes it's just about gathering data. Like, we don't know something's going to work in a month, 2 months. I mean, maybe 3 to 6 months, you can start seeing some trends. So, I mean, all the projects we've done together, I keep bringing them more stuff like a couple times a year that we start up or change.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. My experiences with them was that they enjoy that. Like they like,
100%. Yeah.
yeah. Hey, it's that kind of like good challenge, new idea. That's what
Well, I think it makes them better too if if they work with doctors who are thinking outside the box in terms of better or new ways to market. It gives them ideas that they might be able to, hey, this is actually working great. Let's
yeah.
introduce this to, or let's talk to other doctors about it. And then, it builds up their reputation for, you know, going above and beyond and just being high level.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Would you say, like, so you said 2.5 years ago you started with the NDA, that m- uh, my learning, I guess, about that kind of marketing is that they're if their stuff is working, the phone's going to ring, or phone's going to ring more. Doesn't mean I'm going to get more new patients. Doesn't mean I'm going to get more cases. Doesn't mean I'm going to get more of this, more of that, more money, more anything. It just means the phone's going to ring more. So, like in the last 2.5 years, would you and have you changed any of your internal systems, processes, whatever you do, so that when people are calling, that more of them are scheduling, the flow is better, the sales process, my word, is better. Just talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. At the end of the day, it really comes down to like how well is your team handling phone calls and the new patient leads that come through maybe online or forms, whatever it is. We've put in a significant amount of time training our phone intake, team members to be able to handle these at the highest level. So we spend a lot of time doing that. We spend we've also had to, because of some of these changes we've done, and we get almost too many calls that we can handle at this point, which is a good problem. But we've had to be more strict on our screening about who actually gets into the practice. We've kind of run out of room for all of the new patients who are trying to call and get in. So now we're trying to screen more about you know, who really fits our philosophy, what we feel like we're really good at. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons why, we've evolved to maybe do more surgery and cosmetics and some of these things that, I really wanted to focus on. Is because we're seeing more of those kind of patients in the office who need that kind of stuff. But that goes back to, again, like how many times the phone's ringing, having great conversations with those patients about what their true needs are and their goals are, um, and then getting them scheduled the right way as a new patient.
I know you and I've known each other for a while, so it's so good to hear that all that stuff is like in place, falling into place. More kind of cases, and the phone's ringing more. You said like almost too much, but at the same point in time, that's like everybody's office. Like if you try to be all things to all people, you're gonna have way too much stuff. So you've really kind of narrowed down to with the niche and the culture that you want. That's awesome.
Right.
Would you say that maybe because of the marketing or because of the message that ideas you've come up with and MBA's come up with, that when people call because of the marketing that you're doing, that they're more in line with who you are and what you're all about, so that they can maybe go from, you know, home plate to first base or second base faster because of that, because of the MDA marking stuff you're doing? Is that part of that? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's something really big that we're working on this year is like really trying to refine, what our message is that patients are seeing from our website or ads or, testimonial videos or whatever it is really trying to refine that to be like, hey, this is who we are. If you have a mouthful of problems, we're your people to fix that, whether it's implants, cosmetics, and less about like, hey, we're your family dentist that sees everything and wants to do everything. So that's been ongoing, but I'd say in the last 6 to 9 months since we've really started to refine that message online, we have seen the changes where we're getting in people who already kind of know us for these things, which is great. That was the ultimate goal. It's like we're starting to build that brand a little bit more. And yeah, that's 100% due to the marketing and just, again, going back to like MDA being willing to go back and change things and improve things and update things. And then just keep adding the reviews, the testimonials, more, refine images or videos on our implant landing pages or whatever it is. So, I mean, that's been key for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like I just got what you just said was that you're adding this, adding that, and that. Would you say the ideas of adding that stuff is coming solely from MDA? It's coming solely from you. It's a combination of them approaching you and saying it'd be great if we.
Both.
Yeah, both. Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely both. I mean, again, I'm very hands-on, so I go to them with a lot of ideas, but I mean, when we have our check-in calls every once in a while, they'll be like, "Hey, this is working for somebody else," or "Hey, this is something that we've talked about in the past," and they'll make recommendations. So, yeah.
Right. And I felt like when I was using MBA, that I was like, I love your terms, like you were very hands-on. I felt like I was too, in the sense that I'm curious what you mean by that. Because for me, that meant I was very involved with it. Like I was thinking about it. I was curious about this. I was throwing ideas, but that didn't take much of my time to do that. I wasn't getting the videos myself. I wasn't getting the testimonies myself. I wasn't doing a lot of the behind the scenes work on it. It was more just the idea, the thoughts, the just. And so is that when you say hands on, that's what it is, or you find your hands on part takes up quite a bit of your time as well, or is it more intellect?
No, I mean, it's more like the higher level, like visionary kind of thinking about your marketing, more
Yeah,
hands-on than it is like,
yeah,
my team does all the hard work. They're getting the testimonials, they're getting the reviews. I don't even know how to post to half the stuff that I have. So it's really just like thinking like, hey, what are, looking at the numbers, what are our trends, reporting that data back to MDA and calls about, hey, why don't we go this direction or why don't we try this? So yeah, it's hands on in the sense that I'm involved in the big level decisions and ideas about our marketing, but not the actual troops on the ground.
yeah. So maybe a last question, and this is maybe because I know you, but I've
Yeah.
always been somebody who's very, very financially, fiscally very good steward, maybe leaning more towards the frugal side of spending on the practice and on the business. So if you look at that investment or the expense, whatever word you want to choose, I'd say investment in hiring MDA. I mean, it's not cheap. I'm not sure what cheap is, but if you're going to spend 40, 50, 60, $70,000, whatever it is for a marketing company or more,
Yeah.
what do you in your mind not justify that, but you look at that and say the return on that investment is enough that allows you to go year, do more, 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 more.
I mean, to me, it's a no brainer. If you got 20,000 patients and you're one doctor, then yeah, maybe you don't need to market or spend money doing that. But if you, in today's world, everybody's marketing. I think if you're trying to do life-changing dentistry, you almost have to now. So to me, it's like, I think investment's a better term. I don't see it as an expense. Like it's something that just has to be done to have to build the kind of practice that we're trying to build. So, I mean, if I was to start a practice all over at any point in my career, the very first thing I would do is go to a company like MDA and start that from day one and start
Yeah.
putting a lot of money into that.
You know, not a statistical thing, but if you said you're really focusing on larger cases, you said a cool phrase, life-changing dentistry. So that's really larger cases. So in the last, 2.5, 3 years or so, MDA was a big part of it. Would you say that the number of your larger cases has gone up by 50%? It's doubled, it's tripled. It's like what sort of like off the cuff?
2 to 4x.
Yeah, awesome. In a pretty short time, right? I mean, 2.5 to 3 years goes by
Yeah.
pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the fun and the challenging part of it too, is sometimes it's maybe a little bit too much all at one time, and you're
Yeah,
still trying to figure out some of the kinks in your own protocols and labs and all that. So,
sure.
um,
A good
but
problem.
it's fun. Yeah, yeah, you want that's a good problem. You want to solve those problems.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Anything else if you were, if you're on the fence about either getting involved with a marketing company or switching marketing companies? Is there anything that strikes out? I mean, it's your story, something that from your standpoint that, I wish I'd found MBA sooner than I did because this is what they did for me.
Yeah, I went through a couple marketing agencies before I found the MDA, and yeah, 100%. I wish I'd started with them day one. I bought my practice. We likely would be even further along than we are now. So another thing I love about them too is like everyone you talk to there is like so friendly. Um, you feel like they actually care about what's the successes you're having in your practices, and they also are extremely good about getting back with you and confirming, hey, I've received this email. Hey, I passed this along. We're gonna get back. We're gonna research this, whatever it is. So like their communication um is amazing, and that's not the case for most companies, especially dental companies that we work with, especially marketing companies. So that's something I've really appreciated about them as well.
Yeah, that was my experience too. They're so accountable. They say they're going to do something, they really do it. Yeah, in the town we're talking about. Yeah, in a thoughtful way. Anything else that you wanted to tell the universe about MDA?
No, I mean, I'd say if you're considering a marketing company, you really can't go wrong with them. They can do everything. They're open to everything. Like I said, if I would start a new practice, first thing I'd do would be to hire them, and then just you have to put your own energy and thought and time and money into marketing, or nothing's gonna happen. It doesn't matter who that is. So, yeah, it's a team effort.
Awesome, cool.